Daddy only gives me love when I get things done. So I'm going
Mm,
to keep doing things to get love because I am not actually receiving love in the way that a child needs to, in a healthy way, to have a healthy perception of love. I'm receiving love when I do something. In this video, I'm speaking to a client who has a tendency to not take any space or time for herself in stillness. She said that she actually feels afraid to do so, that it makes her body contract and constrict because she always feels like she needs to be doing something. And this is something that I'm sure you also understand. And it's something that I notice a lot of my clients and women are going through that is not healthy. The body needs time for rest and for stillness. So, what happens is that if you grew up in an environment where you were constantly being validated and praised for your achievements, and there wasn't a lot of emotional availability for you, for your emotions, for your expression, and maybe your parents didn't really praise you for just being you. Let's be real, lots of our parents did not do that. And so, what this created was a belief that I receive love when I do. When we're young, we are forming beliefs about how we are loved. We start to create an identity around our beliefs that we are getting from our environment with our parents. So, from 0 to 7 years old, your brain is the most malleable. It's taking information and data from the external world and creating beliefs and an identity of yourself. I heard this once that we spend the rest of our lives undoing 7 years of our lives, which is our childhood. There's so many studies on this, on how our subconscious mind starts to create this identity at such a young age. And so, if you were always achieving and doing and going, and that was the way your parents gave you praise, now as an adult, there's a little girl inside of you that is still looking for love and validation and praise. And this is happening very unconsciously. So you might not really be like, well, I don't spend my days thinking about wanting love and validation. I'm just doing what I need to do to make money, right? And this can be so subtle, but so rooted in illusion, so rooted in limitation. You did not come here just to do and achieve all the time and to receive your validation and worth from doing. You already are worthy for just being you, but no one taught you that at a young age. So now you're trying to get your worth from everything that you do. We have to flip the script here. We have to be very aware of when the ego conditioned mind is trying to convince and persuade you that you're just doing what you're supposed to do to pay the bills and make money. That is the conditioned mind coming in. When we look deeper and we see what's actually there, and we look at all of the life circumstances leading up until this point, especially if you're feeling unfulfilled in your life, if you're working a job that feels like you're always going, always doing with no breaks, with no time for self love, we have to do the deeper work to see what is actually happening. And in this case, my client grew up in an environment where she didn't receive praise and validation for being herself. She grew up taking care of everyone around her, including her siblings. She was the oldest child that had to do everything at a very young age. And now she's recreating that reality. Because what happens is, as we grow up and we become adults, we will continue to recreate what feels familiar. And if we're not questioning that and going deeper and being like, why is this something that does not fulfill me? And we just keep doing it because we think we need to, that's what creates stress. That's what creates an unfulfilling life. And you're not here to live that. We have to start questioning, why does this feel unfulfilling? Most of the times it's because it's not what your soul actually came here to do or what it wants to do. It's what your conditioned mind has made you believe you need to do because of your past experiences. And so I want to talk more about this because when we are doing the work to heal this masculine part of us that is wounded, this part of you that just wants to go, go, go and achieve all the time, when you learn how to heal that, your feminine energy increases because
inside you have your feminine energy and you have your masculine energy. And when we learn how to heal both of them, we come into union of our inner masculine and our inner feminine, which is what we're really seeking for, is that divine union of both the inner and the inner feminine and the inner masculine that creates harmony energetically in our being and allows us to expand and to live a life that's actually rooted in truth, actually rooted in who we actually are in this harmonious, balanced energy rather than who our mind has made us believe we are. And so, how exactly can you heal your masculine energy? So, your masculine energy mainly comes from how you related to your father growing up and how he treated you. Your father was the first experience of masculine energy, and your mother was your first experience of feminine energy. So, how you relate to each parent is how you relate to your own inner feminine or masculine. And so, when we're talking about healing the masculine here, it's going to be really important for you to heal your relationship to your father. Now, I know you're probably like, there is no way I can forgive or heal this relationship. There's no way I can actually speak to my father. I don't want to speak to my father. Maybe your father's not even in your life. Maybe he's not around at all. Healing your relationship with your father is not about having a conversation with your father and doing it externally. Healing your relationship with your father is doing the work internally to heal your own inner father, which was created through your actual father or the father figure that you grew up with. And so when you're doing the work within to forgive, it's not necessarily for them. Forgiveness is for you. Because if you think about your relationship with your dad and you're experiencing resentment or confusion or anger or frustration or any low vibrational energy, when you feel that towards this paternal figure, you feeling that in your system is already showing you that you're holding on to incomplete energy and it's only hurting you to continue to feel this way. You feeling that resentment, anger, frustration energy towards him is not serving you. It's actually lowering your vibration. It's actually keeping you more in this wounded masculine state as a woman. So it's so important to do the inner work to forgive. And it will take time. I've gone through so many layers of healing my father wound because I too was a woman that was really in my masculine energy, go, go, go. I took no space, no time for me, no naps. I was like, a nap? What the heck? Heck no. I will nap when I'm successful. I will nap when I've earned it. And seeking for my worth and validation also in men because I never got it from my dad. And so, doing this inner work to heal that will heal your inner masculine, which will allow your inner feminine to feel safe to be herself, will allow your inner feminine to feel safe to slow down, to pause, to breathe, to feel, to just be. She's craving that so deeply. I know you feel that inside. And your masculine armor, because you're still holding on to this resentment, fear, doubt, whatever it is suppressing her. And so it's time to heal that. And towards the end of this video, I'm going to share some tips for you to begin your healing journey around the father wound so your feminine can radiate more.
I'm receiving love when I do something. I'm receiving conditional love from my parents, which means that now the way that I love myself is conditionally. I love myself not unconditionally. I love myself conditionally because now when the only way I can love myself or give myself love is by overworking and overstressing and getting things done because there's still a little girl in you that's trying to seek for love and validation in that way. The same way that you're perceiving that with your father is the way that you're perceiving God, the Father. You're saying, God only will love me if I get things done. I can't fully surrender to God. I can't just be worthy for being me and see myself through the eyes of God because I learned at a young age that the masculine only loves me when I do things. So there's subtle ways that now you're not trusting and surrendering and taking time to be with God because you're in that conditional love of how your father treated you at a young age.
First off, when I talk about God here, I'm not talking about a religious God. I'm talking about a God that is love. I'm talking about the God that exists in the wisdom of our hearts, the wisdom of our bodies. And I believe that the way to connect to God is not through doing things externally. The way to connect to God is to sit still, to connect to our hearts, and to listen to the whispers of our soul that are so connected to God. We've been so disconnected from that relationship that we innately have with God. And we've been warped to think that God is something that we need to do to understand. And so, if you grew up in an environment where your father was absent, or you have a certain relationship to your father, that relationship is the same relationship that you have to God, the Father. The masculine is the divine. The feminine is earth, is this body, right? And so when we're looking at it from that macro lens, God is the divine masculine that we are truly seeking for, that we truly want to connect with, especially as feminine beings. And if that relationship to our first masculine was warped, what do you think it's creating with our relationship to the divine masculine, God, the one that protects, the one that provides, the one that leads us, right? When we're connecting to our hearts, the one that gives us the information and the data to take action in our lives with this body. I want you to really think about that. Think about your relationship with your father and see how it correlates with your relationship to God the Father. When your relationship with God the Father is warped because of your relationship to your father, there's this inability to surrender, to trust what is happening in your life, to trust the natural unfolding of your life. And when you don't trust the natural unfolding of your life, when you don't trust that there is a higher power guiding you through life, you're going to be living a life rooted in the need to control and grip onto everything. And when things change and you have to be in the unknown, you're going to fall into depression and anxiety and feel so low because you're not connecting to that higher power that's actually here to lead you, to connect with you, to show you the way. If you never had a father that showed you the way, you're not going to feel like God can show you the way. And maybe up until this point, you've kind of been conceptualizing God through a book or through a building and not really connecting. And I find that when you're doing more of like reading and going to a certain building to connect with God, it's still so externally focused because you're seeking for that love and validation that you didn't get from your dad externally. And the shift has to happen internally for you to feel worthy, for you to feel whole, for you to feel loved, and for you to feel and see yourself through the eyes of God. You can replace God with the universe or spirit or whatever word feels the most resonant for you, because I know that it's so tender to even say the word God nowadays because of all the religious trauma that we have gone through. But things are shifting and things are changing. It honestly makes me so freaking excited to talk about this because I have looked through YouTube videos and there's so many women just talking about like feminine energy and like healing your masculine and like all these things that are not rooted in like God and our connection to the divine, and it's really missing this like this umph. And to be able to be here and just share this with you makes me so happy because we have to be connecting the dots to how we feel towards this overpowering, amazing love that is just ready for us to receive and ready for us to remember how worthy of it we are and stop seeking for our worth and all these external things. Like feminine energy is not about just like, oh, this is how I think I saw one like how you look how you can look expensive, how you can get a man to like you, how you can. It's not about getting anything. We don't need to place our worth externally. Our worth is within. Our worth is rooted in God. Our worth is rooted in the omnipresent love that we get to connect to and feel to in our hearts when we stop overachieving and trying to do so much to receive our worth and validation. Simple. but also not that simple for this conditioned mind. Am I right? When you're also having this like father wound, it's so wild. I mean, my journey was just insane with the way and the lack of safety I felt with men. And I've seen it warp into different ways with women. For me, it was like this feeling of like men giving me so much anxiety. And then I've seen how the father wound kind of warps other women to like emasculate men or judge men or feel like men are less than. And it's really creating a disconnect between the feminine and the masculine. And it's so important that we're doing this healing work to heal the father wound and to heal the mother wound within ourselves so that when we come together in partnership with the feminine and the masculine, and it's not just men and women. There could be two women that one is more masculine, one is more feminine. There could be two men that one's more feminine and more masculine. But in every relationship, there is a dance between the feminine and the masculine, just like there's a dance inside of us with the feminine and masculine. And so, in this dance of the feminine and masculine relationships, if we're not doing the work to heal the core wounds that come from our mother and our father, we're going to keep projecting them out into other relationships or our dating life or connection with each other. It's going to keep creating separation and it's going to keep creating conflicts and it's going to keep creating relationship issues. And we need to change that. And the way to change that is within first. You want to activate your feminine energy? Listen here, baby. Do the inner work. And I'll get more into that. Okay, so let's talk about some tips. How do you actually heal your father wound? So, a lot of the work that I do with my clients is very somatic, it's very in the body. However, it is important to do some of the mental work first before we start getting into the body. So, I want to support you today in doing some of the mental work that has really helped me, has really helped a lot of my clients on healing the father wound. First, spend some time connecting to what is my relationship to my father? What is that energy that is in between me and my father? Anger, frustration, maybe all of it, right? And connect to that and feel where that is in your body and just breathe into it and just give it love and acceptance. Like you're safe to to feel this. I guess we're getting into some of the body stuff first. Breathe love into it. Give it the love that it hasn't had yet. And just spend like 5 minutes doing that. Now, this is the juicy stuff. You want to write a letter to your father. You're not going to send it to him, don't worry, but just express all of your feelings. Dear father, dear dad, when you said this, it made me feel blank. When you did this, it made me feel blank, made me feel pain, made me feel hurt, made me feel unloved, made me feel unworthy, and just write it all out. That is the intention for that first letter. Then the second letter that you're going to write is a forgiveness letter. Dear dad, dear father, dear whatever, I forgive you for blank. I'm choosing to let go of this because I can no longer hurt myself by holding on to this. I forgive you for blank. 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 Write it all out and sign that letter. The next invitation that I have for you is to learn more about your father's upbringing if you can. How was he treated? What did he go through? If you can. You might not be able to do this portion, so that's okay if you can't. You can move on to the next thing that I will talk about. But if you have the ability to ask a certain relative or just do a little bit of research to allow your mind to know that anything and everything that happened was not your fault. It was just simply generational trauma being passed down and being projected onto you because your father was probably not loved in the ways that he needed to be loved. And so connect to your father's inner child through the research and see what happened so you can find more acceptance and love in your heart and let go because it was not your fault. Then I invite you to heal your relationship with God, the Father. Start connecting to what God means to you. Sit in silence, do a prayer. God, my relationship to you right now is blank. Please help me understand what my relationship to you is meant to be. Please, God, show me the way. I'm ready. I'm ready to receive the way that you have for me. Clear me of distortions and illusions and let me feel you and really spend time with that. And then I invite you to journal out in what ways am I showing in my life that I don't trust God to provide, to protect me? And then asking yourself the question and journaling out, can I surrender to God's way for me? Yeah. How will I choose to? No. Why? And go deeper. Why? Does that feel good to not be able to surrender? Start leaning in and asking yourself the deeper questions. And lastly, my last tip for you is to let go of this masculine shield that you've built over your heart. You know that you desire love and support and to receive. So, the best way to blast through that masculine shield over your heart is to put yourself in situations where you're forced to receive. Ask for support. Ask someone to carry the bags for you to your car. It's going to feel a little crazy at first because you've had to always do everything on your own because your masculine has been overworking and overpowering, but choose to do it for yourself. Choose to do it to heal that. You don't want to keep holding on to that shield. It's literally making you so stagnant and contracted. And that's not a place your feminine energy can grow in. Maybe go to a retreat and be forced to just receive all week and connect to your being and receive from your heart, receive from yourself, receive from the facilitator, receive from the workshops, receive. And next time somebody compliments you, instead of being like, oh, no, 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 say, thank you. I appreciate that. I started to say, I received that. People thought it was silly. So if your nervous system doesn't feel good doing that, I don't care. I'm a silly person. So, but if your nervous system doesn't feel safe doing it, just say, thank you. I appreciate that. Or if you're starting to learn, be like, it's really hard for me to receive this, but I'm choosing to right now in this moment. And I just want to say thank you for saying that. Not, you didn't have to do that. Let somebody pay the bill for you and say thank you. Let go of the whole, oh, no, 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 you didn't need to do that. That's so unattractive. Please don't do that anymore. Let yourself receive the love that you are with others who are willing to give it to you. That will really start to open your vulnerable feminine heart. And when you unshield your heart, when you de-armor your heart, you're allowing your relationship to God, to the universe, to love, to grow and to expand. And there's nothing more powerful. There's nothing more powerful and more feminine than that. So I hope that this video brought you some awareness on healing your masculine energy. I know we went really deep today, and that's just the way I like to do things. That's the way I like to roll. So if you're here and this resonated with you, leave comments below, like, subscribe, tune into the channel. I'm here to be in full service and in full devotion to you, to your healing, and to the love that we get to bring into this planet. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.